thanks for joining me. It's not often I do a chat in midweek, but I thought it would be nice to do so. I've done a few things on the boat recently and thought you'd be interested to know what I've been up to. So, what have I been doing? Well, before I get into that, I want to say a big thank you and hello to my new subscribers, and in fact to all my subscribers. As you know, I get a great deal of support and encouragement from you all. It means so much to me. It gives me the will to go on and carry on doing what I'm doing, which is my hobby. I really enjoy it. But to get all your lovely comments week in, week out is really wonderful. And I'd like to make a specific mention to one or two people that have been in touch with me recently, in particular to Rodney and Shannon. They're from America. They've sent me a very nice card. I did receive this a couple of weeks ago, so I'm a bit late with my thank you, but inside it says, Alan, we just wanted to wish you a happy autumn. The card is an autumnal view of the city where we live and where Rodney grew up. So many thanks for that, Rodney and Shannon. It was most unexpected and very well received. Thank you very much. Something a little bit more recent was yesterday actually. I got a message from David. I must read it out to you. Hi, my partner and I are quite recent to your channel, but I think you've had an effect on Helen, because this is what I was greeted with when I stopped for my lunch. And he sent me a wonderful picture. Can you see that? I'll put it in a bit closer for you. Yes, that's me. How wonderful. The writing actually says, enjoy your cheese top roll. Bye for now. Isn't that marvellous? So, Helen, a big hello to you. Thanks for doing that. That was really wonderful of you. I expect David had quite a surprise when he opened his lunchbox. We can say lunchbox, I hope, without any fear of what's that all about. So, yeah, it's great to have you along as new viewers of the channel. So, thank you very much and welcome aboard. So, what else have I got to talk to you about? I did mention in the first part of the Foxton Cruise series, and while I think of it, the second part will be out this weekend, so probably on the Saturday. I will be travelling on the Sunday, so I think it's probably best that I publish that on the Saturday. But in the first part, I did mention my meeting with Chris and Denise, and a little, I think I might have called it a tip. They gave me a tip about something. Well, what it was about this little Sony hand controller. You screw it into the underside of the camera, and you have controls on here which allow you to use the camera like this. And I think this will be a very handy addition. I would have preferred the handle to have been a little bit longer, because the way I grip and to get my hand on here, it's just a little bit awkward for me. You've got this control for zooming, and you've got the button there for doing the actual filming, the on-off button. But it's very handy. This is actually a Mark I version. I have noticed the Mark II version is slightly longer, and I think would have been a better thing to hold, because I'd really like to hold this here and do my controlling like that. And you can see here, this is and I do have problems with my joints in my hand, particularly this little finger. I have trigger finger in this. It's okay at the moment, but it's something that bothers me at night. It clicks in place. I used to have it with this finger. That has been treated with a steroid injection, and my thumb also has had an injection. So I have quite a lot of pain in this hand, and it is the hand I use for filming. But this is a very handy tool to have, and I will make use of it at the appropriate time. I have noticed there is a Mark II version of this, which is actually a bit longer and probably might suit better, but it costs twice as much. This was about £80, and I think the newer one is sort of double that. Don't quote me on price, but just to give you an idea of what's involved. A couple of weeks ago I arranged for someone to change some of the hoses serving the engine. These are water hoses I'm talking about, nothing to do with the central heating. As you know, I had a new hot water cylinder, or calorifier as they say on boats, installed a couple of years ago, and some of the pipes were renewed for that then. But there were 3 hose pipes I was a little bit concerned about, and I thought just as a precaution it would be a good idea to get them renewed, and that has been done. I was very pleased with the way that was done. I wasn't really sure what was involved, because obviously it involved draining the engine of water and then taking off the old hoses and fitting the new ones. And with winter coming up, I needed to get some new antifreeze into the system, so it seemed a very good time to do it. The radiator on a narrowboat is called a skin tank, and it is attached to the swim. That's the curved part underneath the deck, which is in the water as it were, and this skin tank is affixed to that, and it has a bottom hose just like a conventional radiator in a car, and the water was drained out by removing the bottom hose. I was a little bit worried about the condition of the fitting onto the skin tank, but apparently I've been told that's fine. So 3 hoses were replaced, and I'm quite pleased that I've had that done. And also especially with having the new antifreeze in for the winter season. You all know now about the incident I had when turning the boat and damaging the cratchboard at the front. I did mention then that it is my experience that on occasion, when you are doing a turn in a winding hole, a boat will come up behind you. Well, this has happened very recently at the very hole where I had the incident by Bridge 28, that's Elkington Bridge. I often make Elkington Bridge the extent of my travels because the winding hole is there. If I'm out just on a short journey, that will be where I go to turn the boat so I can come back to the marina. Well, on this occasion, as I approached the bridge, I could see a boat also coming towards the bridge from the other side, and I sort of made a signal to suggest that I wanted to turn the boat. Unfortunately, the signal was understood, and the boat started to back up to give me that extra space to make my turn, and I was very, very grateful for that. So I turned into the winding hole, started making my turn in the usual way, the proper way, and it was a great turn. It all went fine, no problems at all. And then obviously having turned in, you then have to back out. And I started backing out, and as I was doing that, I turned round to see the progress I was making, because you take the boat back up close to the edge of the tow path before you put it back into sort of forward gear. And I turned round, and the boat that had given way to me was actually sort of coming behind me. Now, I hadn't expected that at all. I had thought it would wait for me to complete my manoeuvre, but it didn't. It didn't actually cause a problem, but it could have done, I think, in different circumstances. Now, the boaters on that boat wouldn't have realised this, but it was my intention to finish my turn and let them come on past me, because we would both then be going in the same direction. They wouldn't have known that. It's very difficult to communicate from one boat to another because of your position on the boat, the noise the boats are making and so forth. So I couldn't explain that to them. So I was rather surprised, but it was another example of what I've said before, that sometimes... Go away. A spider. Why do they do this to me? is that sometimes you do get this scenario where you're making your turn and someone sneaks behind you. I just wish boaters wouldn't do that, and I must make sure that I don't do it unless I am waved on. I think if you're waved on, then it's fine to do it, but I just wasn't expecting it. So these things do happen now and again. Something I did yesterday was to clean the stove and the flue pipe. It was a bit on the hoof. I hadn't intended to do it, although it needed doing, so you might just like to see this little clip about it. It's that time of year again when I need to clean out the stove and sweep the flue pipe. It's not a job I'm particularly looking forward to. I should really have done it before now, but time has gone on and I must really get it sorted. I'm not going to film the entire stove and flue cleaning operation, as I did that last year. I'll put a link to the video I made below. It was quite interesting actually, because I found a part fitted into the stove that shouldn't have been there. And if that's of interest to you, I suggest you take a look. I think that's good enough for the minute. What I'll do now is I'll take out these fire bricks either side. There's a baffle board at the top here, and then there are side walls as well which also come out, and then I'll have access to the whole interior. All the fire bricks have been removed. The side bricks are broken vertically, but they are a snug fit, but next year I will probably replace them. I'm going to clean up some of the mess inside the stove now, and when I've done that I'll go up on the roof and brush down through the stove pipe. I've got the same problem I always have. It's difficult to see because my glasses are steaming up. That's the trouble when you wear a mask. But I'm getting on okay. Must be part of the lining of the chimney. Well, I'm a bit messed up, as you can probably tell. I knew rain was expected today, but we had some in the morning and I thought I'd avoid it, but I haven't been able to do so. The job of squeezing through this gap is made harder by the fact of the solar power module that's just here. I hadn't actually planned to clean the stove today. It's been in my mind for some long while now. Last year I did it in September, and I think that might have been a better time to do it. So I just did it off the hoof. I hadn't planned it or anything, I just decided to do it. I knew there was going to be some rain today, and we had some rain in the morning. It wasn't much of it, and it stopped, so I took a bit of a chance, and I thought, well, I'll carry on this afternoon, see how I get on. But I'm pleased I've done it. There are a few bits left in the grate there, which there was no need to take those out because they'll burn next time I have a fire. But I've rodded it through from the top, as you've seen, and got quite a lot of gunge out of it. A lot fell into the bucket. I forgot to film inside the bucket. I'm sorry about that, but having come in from outside when it was wet and I was dirty, it was difficult to move around. In such a confined space, it's difficult to film and light it, and I've done the best I can. And as I say, I've done it before, I did it last year, so if you want to see a longer operation of cleaning the stove and flue, please take a look at that video. I said earlier how grateful I am for all your comments on my YouTube videos. And I've also made it clear before that I'm not very social media savvy. So I'm using Facebook and Instagram. And I find that messages come to me either via the YouTube video, through Facebook, through Instagram. Some people message me direct through Messenger. But sometimes I actually see messages, but I can't open them up. I can't actually read them. It's difficult to explain, but sometimes I'll get an email saying I've got a message on so-and-so, and I'll click on the link, but it doesn't lead anywhere. It is difficult to explain, but it's very annoying. Last year I did say that as I get more and more comments, it is becoming increasingly difficult to respond to them all. But I have managed to respond to all the messages I've had, as far as I know. If you don't get a response, something has probably gone wrong. But going forward, I'm going to have to start being a little bit more, selective, I think, in what I respond to, because it is very, very time consuming for me to respond to all the messages in the way that I have been. And I do have a touch of OCD, which means that I like to respond to everyone, but it is becoming increasingly difficult. So it may just be a thumbs up or a love heart sign or something of that nature that you'll get, and not always a response. I've said this before, but whether I will or won't, I don't know. So time will tell. The other big thank you that I mustn't forget to give is that on the YouTube write-up, on the description of the video, there is a link where people, if they wish to do so, can make a donation through PayPal. And many of you have done so. I'm not going to name names. I just want you all to know, those that have contributed and given me a little something, how grateful I am for that. Now, I do ensure I reply to everyone and thank you all personally, and I do that by email. I do get your email address through the PayPal system, and I have definitely written to everyone to thank you. So if any of you have made a donation and not had a personal thank you, I don't know why. I have responded to each of you. So every one of you has had a reply, and I'm so grateful. I had one today, and many thanks for that. In summing up, I will thank you all for watching. It's great to have your company. The sun is coming out again. It did seem to disappear for a moment. Keep the comments coming. Don't be put off by not making comments. Please keep the comments coming. They give me a lot of support and encouragement, and they are very, very greatly received and appreciated. I can't stress that enough. So do keep your remarks coming, and your thoughts, your suggestions, things of that nature means a great deal to me. So I think it's time where I should say, if any of you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. click the subscribe button and the little bell, and you should get notifications of future videos. I am assuming that bell still works. I think it was suggested it was going to be taken out of action, but for the moment I'm assuming the bell still works. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and then you can receive notifications of future videos. So meanwhile, it just remains for me to say once again, yes again, many thanks for watching. I hope you and your families are keeping safe and well. The troubled times continue, particularly in the UK. Things are getting worse again now, with various different tiers of lockdown announced. There just seems to be no end to it at the moment, so I hope you're all keeping well, and your families, your friends and everyone. And I'll catch up with you another time. So I'm going to sign off and say bye for now.